Mommy, why aren't you eating? She lied again. I'm not hungry, baby. But her daughter saw the truth, saw her mother's hand shaking, saw the empty plate, saw the $20 that was supposed to feed 3 people on Christmas Eve. Then the door exploded open. 5 Hell's Angels stormed in. Skulls, leather, chains, 300 pounds of muscle and terror. Everyone in that diner held their breath. The biggest one scanned the room, his eyes locked on the mother, on her crying children, on the single bowl of soup between them. He started walking toward her. What happened next? It broke the entire internet. Before we continue, have you subscribed yet? Drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let's begin. Elena stopped walking. Not because she was tired, she was exhausted. Yeah, but that wasn't it. She stopped because her 6-year-old son had just asked her a question she couldn't answer. Mommy, why don't we have a Christmas tree this year? Lucas looked up at her with those big brown eyes, innocent, trusting, waiting for an answer that would make everything okay. Elena's throat closed up. We're doing something different this year, baby. Different how? It's a surprise. Lily, his twin sister, tugged at Elena's coat. I don't want a surprise, Mommy. I want a tree like everyone else. Elena looked down at her daughter, at the worn jacket that was too thin for this weather, at the little hands turning red from the cold. She wanted to scream. She wanted to fall to her knees and cry, but she couldn't because she was their mother. And mothers don't break, not in front of their children. Tell you what, Elena said, forcing her voice to stay steady. How about we get some food first? Aren't you hungry? The twins' eyes lit up immediately. Food, real food. From a restaurant. Yes, real food. Can I get chicken fingers? Can I get a cheeseburger? Elena's heart cracked. She had $20, and she had just promised them real food from a restaurant. What was she thinking? They walked 3 more blocks before Elena saw it. Rosie's Diner, small, old, a little run down, but warm light poured through the windows, and Elena could see families inside eating and laughing like the world wasn't cold and cruel. That one, Mommy. Let's go there. Elena hesitated. Her hand went to her pocket. She felt the crumpled $20 bill. Still there. Still her last lifeline. Okay, she heard herself say. Let's go. She pushed the door open. Warmth hit her face like a wave. The smell of coffee and fried food filled her nose. For 1 second, just 1 second, she let herself believe everything would be okay. Then she saw the prices. Burger $12.95. Chicken fingers $10.50. Grilled cheese $8.75. Elena's stomach dropped. Mommy, look, they have milkshakes and pie chocolate pie. The twins were bouncing with excitement. They hadn't eaten a real meal in 3 days. 3 days of crackers and peanut butter. 3 days of Elena telling them she wasn't hungry so they could have her portion. She guided them to a corner table, the farthest one from everyone else. Sit down, babies. Let me look at the menu. The waitress came over, tired eyes, stained apron. Name tag said Brenda. What can I get you folks? Elena's hands were shaking. She hid them under the table. Just give me a minute. Brenda nodded and walked away. Lily leaned across the table. Mommy, I want the chicken fingers. Please, with fries. I want the cheeseburger, Lucas added. The big one with bacon. Elena did the math in her head. Chicken fingers $10.50. Cheeseburger $11.95. That was over $20, way over. How about we share something, Elena said carefully. Like an adventure. We can all eat from the same plate. Lily's face fell. But I wanted my own food. I know, baby, but sharing is fun, right? We can try different things. Lucas crossed his arms. Tommy at school says only poor people share food at restaurants. The words hit Elena like a punch to the chest. Tommy doesn't know what he's talking about. He said poor people were losers. Are we losers, Mommy? Elena grabbed her son's hands, squeezed hard. Listen to me. We are not losers. We've barged a family, and families take care of each other. Sometimes that means sharing. There's nothing wrong with that. Lucas nodded slowly, but Elena could see it in his eyes. The doubt, the confusion, the beginning of shame. She wanted to find Tommy's parents and scream at them. What kind of people raised a child to say things like that? But she couldn't think about that now. She had bigger problems, like how she was going to feed her children with $20. Brenda came back, ready to order. Elena took a breath. One bowl of chicken soup and one piece of bread. Brenda blinked. That's it, for all three of you. Yes. The waitress looked at the twins, at their thin jackets, their hopeful faces. Something flickered in her eyes. Coming right up, she said quietly. When she left, Lily tugged at Elena's sleeve. Mommy, you didn't order anything for yourself. I'm not hungry, sweetheart. You always say that. Because it's always true. Lily's eyes filled with tears. No, it's not. I hear your tummy growling at night, when you think we're asleep. Elena felt her heart shatter into a million pieces. Baby, why do you always lie to us, Mommy? Why won't you eat? I'm not lying. I eat later, after you're asleep. There's no food at home, Lucas said quietly. I checked the refrigerator this morning. It's empty. Elena couldn't breathe. Her children knew. They knew everything. All this time she thought she was protecting them, hiding the truth, keeping them innocent. But they knew, they saw through every lie, every excuse, every fake smile. I'm trying, Elena whispered. Her voice broke. I'm trying so hard. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Lily climbed out of her chair and wrapped her arms around her mother. Don't cry, Mommy. We don't need a lot of food. We just need you. Lucas joined the hug. Yeah, we're not even that hungry. But Elena heard his stomach growl, loud, angry, demanding. She held her children and cried silently into their hair. From across the diner, Marcus Stone watched. He sat in a booth with 4 of his brothers, all of them wearing Hell's Angels cuts, all of them big enough to fill doorways. The other customers gave them a wide berth, stealing nervous glances but never making eye contact. Marcus didn't care about the looks. He was used to them. What he wasn't used to was the feeling in his chest right now. The tightness, the old pain. Yo, Iron, you gonna eat that? Bull pointed at the untouched burger on Marcus's plate. Not hungry. Since when you always hungry? Marcus didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the corner table, on the woman holding her children, on the way her shoulders shook with silent sob. He knew that woman, not personally. He'd never seen her before tonight. But he knew her. He knew her story, her pain, her desperation, because 30 years ago, that woman was his mother. What's going on with you, brother? Demon leaned forward, studying Marcus's face. Nothing. Bull, you've been staring at that corner for 10 minutes. Marcus finally looked away. He picked up his beer but didn't drink it. See that woman over there with the 2 kids? His brothers turned to look. What about her? She just ordered 1 soup and 1 bread for 3 people on Christmas Eve. Silence fell over the table. Razor, the oldest of the group, spoke first. Damn, that's rough. She's gonna give all the food to her kids, Marcus continued. She's not gonna eat anything. I guarantee it. How do you know? Because that's what my mother used to do. The words hung in the air. Everyone at that table knew about Marcus's past. The drunk father who disappeared. The mother who worked 3 jobs and still couldn't make ends meet. The Christmas Eves with nothing but tears and prayers. What you want to do? Bull asked quietly. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. I don't know yet, but I'm not leaving until I figure it out. The soup arrived. 1 small bowl, 1 piece of bread, steam rising in the cold air. The twins stared at it like it was treasure. Go ahead, Elena said. Eat. They didn't need to be told twice. Lucas grabbed the bread and tore it in half, handing 1 piece to his sister. They dunked it in the soup and shoved it in their mouths, barely chewing, before swallowing. Elena watched them. Her stomach was screaming. She hadn't eaten in 2 days, but watching her children eat was better than any meal she could imagine. Slow down, babies. No one's going to take it from you. It's so good, Mommy, Lily said with her mouth full. Try some. She held out a spoonful of soup. Elena shook her head. That's for you. But I want to share with you. I told you, I'm not. Please, Mommy. Lily's eyes were wet. Just 1 bite, please. Elena looked at that spoon, at the watery soup that probably cost $6, at her daughter's trembling hand. She leaned forward and took the bite. It was lukewarm, bland, mostly water with a few pieces of chicken, but it was the best thing she had ever tasted. See, Lily smiled. It's good, right? It's delicious, baby. Lucas broke off a piece of his bread and put it on the table in front of his mother. For later, he said seriously, in case you get hungry. Elena's tears started falling again. She didn't try to stop them this time. 3 tables away, Derek Shaw was getting annoyed. He had been watching the little drama unfold for the past 15 minutes, and frankly, it was ruining his dinner. Look at that, he said loudly to his wife. Can't even afford to feed her kids, but she comes to a restaurant anyway. What is she expecting? A handout? Patricia Shaw glanced at the corner table, then back at her husband. Keep your voice down, Derek. Why, it's the truth. People like that are what's wrong with this country. No responsibility, no planning. Just pop out kids you can't afford and expect everyone else to pick up the tab. Their teenage son Brandon snickered. Maybe she's waiting for Santa. Santa doesn't visit trash, Derek said. That's why they stay trash. He said it loud enough for Elena to hear. She heard every word. Her face went red. Her hands started shaking harder than before. She pulled her children closer as if she could protect them from the cruelty with her body. Mommy, why is that man saying mean things? Ignore him, baby. But he called us trash. He's wrong. He doesn't know us. Then why did he say it? Elena had no answer. What could she say? That some people were cruel. That money made people think they were better than everyone else. That the world wasn't fair. She said nothing. She just held her children and prayed for the meal to end. Marcus heard it too. Every word cut through the noise of the diner like a knife. His hands curled into fists under the table. The rage was building. That old familiar rage that had gotten him into so much trouble over the years. Easy, brother. Bull put a hand on his arm. He's not worth it. He's mocking her in front of her kids. I know, but we start something here. Cops show up and we spend Christmas in lockup. Marcus knew Bull was right. He knew the smart play was to stay seated, finish his beer, and walk away. But he couldn't stop watching, couldn't stop remembering, couldn't stop seeing his mother's face on that woman's body. Something's going to happen tonight, Marcus said quietly. I can feel it in my bones. Elena reached for the check. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. The waitress had left the bill face down on the table, and Elena was terrified to look at it. She turned it over, $14.50. Relief flooded through her body. She could pay. She could actually pay. She would even have $5 left over. Maybe enough to buy the kids something small from the gas station, a candy bar, a Christmas treat. She reached into her pocket. Her fingers touched fabric. Just fabric. Nothing else. No. She searched again. Both pockets, her coat, her jeans under the table on the floor. The $20 was gone. Mommy, Lily's voice was scared. What's wrong? The money. Elena's voice came out strangled. I can't find the money. What money? Our money. All of it. It was in my pocket. It was right here. She was on her hands and knees now, searching the floor, searching the chair, searching everywhere. Other customers were staring. Brenda was watching from behind the counter. Lucas started crying. Mommy, you're scaring me. Elena grabbed his shoulders. It's okay. It's okay. Mommy just needs to find, but she didn't know what she needed to do. The money was gone. And she had already eaten the food, already consumed the products she couldn't pay for. She was a thief now, a thief on Christmas Eve, in front of her children. Derek Shaw stood up. He had been watching the whole thing with growing amusement. The frantic searching, the tears, the panic. It was hilarious, especially since he was the one who took the money. He had seen it fall from her coat when she sat down. A crumpled 20 lying on the floor near her chair. He had walked past on his way to the bathroom and scooped it up without breaking stride. $20 wasn't much to him. He made more than that in 5 minutes. But it wasn't about the money. It was about teaching people their place. He walked towards her table, the bill dangling from his fingers. Looking for this, Elena's head snapped up. Her eyes locked on the money. Yes, that's mine. Where did you? It was on the floor. Derek smiled, cold, cruel. Fell out of your pocket, I guess. Careless. Elena reached for it. Thank you so much. I thought I lost. Derek pulled it back. Not so fast. Elena's hand hung in the air. What? $20. That's all you have. You brought your kids to a restaurant with $20. He laughed. That's pathetic. Please, I need that money. I have to pay the bill. Maybe you should have thought about that before ordering food you couldn't afford. I could afford it. The bill is only 14, but now you can't pay, can you? Because you lost your money, like the loser you are. Lily started crying. Leave my mommy alone. Derek ignored her. His eyes stayed on Elena, enjoying her fear, feeding on her shame. Tell you what, I'll give you the money back. If you get on your knees and beg. Lena's world stopped. What? You heard me? Get on your knees, beg. Show everyone in this diner what you really are. Elena's face went white. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely stand. Please, she whispered. My children are watching. Don't do this. Your children need to learn how the world works. Poor people beg. Rich people give. That's the natural order. So get down on your knees and... A shadow fell over him. Derek stopped talking. Slowly, he turned around. Marcus Stone stood directly behind him, 6'4", 250 pounds, arms like tree trunks, a face that had seen things most people couldn't imagine, and eyes that were absolutely dead. Give her the money. Marcus's voice was quiet, almost gentle. But underneath that gentleness was something ancient and cold, something that knew pain intimately, both giving and receiving. Derek tried to puff himself up. Mind your own business, biker. I'm making it my business. This has nothing to do with you. A man stealing from a mother, or a man trying to make her beg in front of her kids, that has everything to do with me. Derek's wife appeared at his elbow. Derek, let's just go. Give her the money and let's go. Shut up, Patricia. Derek kept his eyes on Marcus. You think I'm scared of you? You're just a thug in a costume. I could buy and sell you 100 times over. Marcus didn't blink. You could try. Behind Marcus, the other 4 Hells Angels had risen from their booth. They moved silently, forming a loose semicircle behind their brother. Every eye in the diner was watching now. The air felt thick, electric. Derek's confidence started to crack. Look, this doesn't have to be a big thing. I was just joking around, teaching her a lesson. Give her the money. It's just $20. What do you care? Marcus took 1 step forward. Derek took 2 steps back. The money, Marcus said again. Now, or I'm going to teach you a lesson. Derek's hands were shaking now. He could see his own death in Marcus's eyes, clear as day. This man had killed before. This man would kill again. And if Derek pushed him 1 more inch, he would be next. He threw the money on the floor. Take it! Take it! He spun around and headed for the door. His wife and son scrambled after him. But Marcus's voice stopped him cold. You forgot something. Derek froze, turned slowly. What? You're going to apologize. To her and to her children. I already gave back the apologize. The word was a command, a sentence, an absolute. Derek looked at Elena, at the twins, at the tears streaming down their faces. His pride screamed at him to refuse, to tell this biker where he could shove his apology, to walk out with his head held high. But his survival instinct was stronger. I'm sorry. Like you mean it. Derek swallowed hard. I'm sorry for taking your money, and for what I said. It was wrong. Marcus stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded. Now get out. Derek ran. He literally ran. His wife and son chased after him, and the door slammed behind them with a bang that echoed through the silent diner. Marcus picked up the $20 bill. He walked to Elena's table and held it out to her. This belongs to you. Elena took it with trembling hands. She couldn't speak, couldn't think, couldn't process what had just happened. You okay? She shook her head, then nodded, then shook her head again. I don't know what to say. Marcus knelt down so he was eye level with the twins. His scarred face softened. Hey, you two okay? Lily wiped her eyes. That man was really mean. Yeah, he was, But he's gone now. He's not coming back. Promise, promise. Lucas was staring at Marcus with wide eyes. Are you a superhero? Marcus almost smiled. Nah, just a guy who doesn't like bullies. You have cool tattoos. Thanks, kid. Elena finally found her voice. Thank you. I don't know how to repay you for... You don't need to repay me. Marcus stood up. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick roll of bills. He peeled off several and handed them to Brenda, who had approached cautiously. Her bill is covered, and bring her and her kids the biggest meal you got. Burgers, fries, milkshakes, pie, everything. On me. Brenda's eyes went wide. That's at least $50. Did I stutter? No, sir, right away. She hurried toward the kitchen. Marcus turned back to Elena. When's the last time you ate? What? You heard me. When's the last time you had a real meal? Not scraps, not leftovers, a real meal. Elena's eyes filled with fresh tears. 2 days. 2 days. Marcus's jaw tightened. On Christmas Eve, you haven't eaten in 2 days. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're starving yourself so your kids can eat. That's not fine. That's survival. Elena had no response, because he was right. Everything he said was exactly right. How do you know? She whispered. Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough, distant, because my mother did the same thing, every day of her life. The food arrived. Mountains of it. 2 massive cheeseburgers with all the fixings. 2 plates of golden fries. 2 chocolate milkshakes topped with whipped cream. 2 slices of pie and apple and chocolate. And for Elena, a hot bowl of beef stew with fresh bread on the side. The twins stared at the feast like they were hallucinating. Is this all for us? All for you, Marcus said. Eat up. They dove in, no hesitation, no holding back. They ate like they had been starving for weeks, which Elena realized they probably had been. She watched them for a moment, watched their faces transform from fear to joy, watched them laugh with mouths full of food, watched them be children again, if only for a few minutes. Then she looked at Marcus. He was standing a few feet away, giving them space but not leaving. His brothers had returned to their booth, but Marcus stayed close. Sit, Elena said softly. Please. Marcus hesitated. Then he pulled out a chair and sat across from her. Thank you, Elena said again. I know I keep saying it, but stop thanking me. I can't. You have no idea what this means. What tonight was going to be. I was so scared. I thought maybe this was it. The end. I didn't know how I was going to... She broke off, unable to continue. Marcus watched her. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes understood. What's your name? Elena Martinez. I'm Marcus. People call me Iron. Iron. Long story. Elena almost smiled. Thank you, Marcus. Iron. Whatever you want to be called, thank you. You're welcome. They sat in comfortable silence while the twins demolished their food. Elena picked at her stew, eating slowly, savoring every bite. Can I ask you something? She finally said. Go ahead. Why did you do all this? You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. Why would you spend your money and risk a fight with that man for a complete stranger? Marcus didn't answer right away. He seemed to be weighing his words carefully. I told you about my mother. You mentioned her. She raised me alone. My old man took off before I was born. We had nothing. Less than nothing. There were nights we didn't eat. Christmases with no tree, no presents, no food. Just my mom and me sitting in a cold apartment, trying to pretend that everything was okay. Elena's heart ached. I'm so sorry. She worked 3 jobs, cleaned houses during the day, waitressed at night, worked weekends at a laundromat, all so I could have a better life. But it was never enough. The bills kept coming. The landlord kept threatening to kick us out, and no matter how hard she worked, we kept sinking deeper. Marcus paused. His jaw was tight. One Christmas Eve, we went to a shelter, just to get some food. There was this guy there older, looked like he'd been through hell and back. He saw my mom, saw how thin she was, saw me clinging to her hand, and he gave her $50. $50. Yeah, I just handed it to her. Didn't say much, just said, take care of that boy. And he walked away. I never saw him again. Never got his name. Marcus finally looked at Elena. That $50, it saved us, got us through 2 more weeks, kept the heat on, put food in the refrigerator, gave my mom enough hope to keep going. Elena's tears were falling freely now. I never got to thank that man, Marcus continued. Never got to tell him what his kindness meant. He's probably dead now, but I made a promise to myself that day, that if I ever had the chance to do what he did to help a mother who was drowning, I would. No questions asked, no payment expected. He gestured at Elena and the twins. Tonight I got that chance. Elena reached across the table and took his hand. Your mother raised a good man. Marcus's eyes flickered. Something passed across his face, pain maybe, or old grief. She didn't live to see it. What? She died when I was 17, worked herself to death, heart gave out. Doctors said it was exhaustion, stress, malnutrition. All those years of sacrificing for me finally caught up with her. Oh, Marcus. I went off the rails after that. Did some things I'm not proud of. Spent time in places I never want to go back to. But eventually I found the club, found my brothers, found a purpose. He looked at the Hells Angels patch on his jacket. People see this and they think they know me. They think I'm a criminal, a thug, a monster, and maybe I am some of those things. But I'm also the son of a woman who gave everything she had so I could survive. And that's never going to change. The diner door crashed open. Everyone turned. 2 police officers walked in, hands on their belts. Behind them, Derek Shaw followed, his face red with rage. There, Derek pointed at Marcus. That's him. That's the thug who threatened me. Arrest him. The younger cop moved toward Marcus. Sir, we're going to need you to stand up. Marcus didn't move. On what charge? This gentleman says you threatened him with violence. Did this gentleman tell you he stole money from a single mother? Did he tell you he tried to make her beg on her knees in front of her children? Did he tell you what he called her kids? The officers exchanged glances. He's lying, Derek screamed. He's a criminal. Look at him, the older officer held up a hand. Everyone calm down. Let's figure out what happened here. A voice cut through the tension. I'll tell you what happened. Everyone turned. An elderly woman emerged from behind the counter. Silver hair, sharp eyes, back straight despite her 70-plus years. I'm Rosie. I own this diner, owned it for 43 years, and I saw everything. She walked slowly toward the officers, her gaze never leaving Derek's face. That man stole $20 from this woman. He humiliated her. He called her children trash. He tried to force her to beg on her knees. And when this gentleman stepped in to defend her, that man ran away like the coward he is. That's a lie, Derek sputtered. I saw it too, Brenda said, stepping forward. Every word. He was disgusting. One by one, other customers spoke up. I saw him take the money. He was horrible, absolutely horrible. The biker didn't touch him, just told him to give it back. The older officer turned to Derek. His expression had completely changed. Sir, it sounds like you're the one who caused the problem here. This is ridiculous. I'm a respected businessman. I know the mayor. I'll have your badges. Well, sir, if you don't calm down immediately, I'm going to arrest you for theft, harassment, and disturbing the peace. Derek's face went purple. His wife tugged at his arm. Derek, please, let's just go. Let's go home. For a moment, it looked like Derek might explode. But then something shifted. The fight drained out of him. His shoulders slumped. This isn't over, he muttered. He turned and walked toward the door. His wife and son followed. But before he left, he stopped, turned. His eyes found Marcus. You think you're some kind of hero, but you're not. You're trash, and trash always ends up in the garbage where it belongs. Marcus stood up slowly. Get out. Derek left. The door slammed behind him, and the entire diner erupted in applause. The officers apologized before they left. Sorry for the disruption, folks. Merry Christmas. When they were gone, something strange happened. The atmosphere in the diner shifted. People were smiling, laughing. Strangers were talking to strangers. Marcus tried to return to his booth, but people kept stopping him, shaking his hand, thanking him, telling him he was a good man. He was clearly uncomfortable with the attention. All right, Bull laughed when Marcus finally made it back. Look at you, regular hero. Shut up. No, seriously, that was beautiful. I almost cried. I said shut up, but Marcus was almost smiling. At the corner table, the twins had finished their food. Their bellies were full. Their faces were content. For the first time in months, they looked like normal, happy children. Mommy, that was the best meal ever. Ever, ever, ever. Elena smiled at them, a real smile. The first one in a long time. I'm glad you enjoyed it, babies. Can we come back tomorrow? We'll see. Lily yawned hugely. I'm sleepy. Me too, Lucas agreed. Elena looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost 10 p.m. The buses had stopped running an hour ago. Their apartment was 40 minutes away on foot, 40 minutes in the freezing cold. With two exhausted children, on Christmas Eve, her heart sank. Ahoyt. Marcus noticed the change in her expression. What's wrong? Nothing, I need to get them home. Where's home? Elena hesitated. The shame welled up again. We have a room across town. It's small, but it's ours. How far? About 40 minutes. You're going to walk in this cold. I don't have a choice. I can't afford. She stopped herself. It doesn't matter. We'll be fine. Marcus shook his head. No. Excuse me. I said no. I'm not letting you walk 40 minutes in the freezing cold with two small kids. It's below zero out there. You'll freeze away. We've done it before. That doesn't make it okay. Marcus pulled out his keys. I've got a truck outside. I'm driving you home. Elena's instincts screamed at her. She didn't know this man, didn't know anything about him except what she had seen tonight. He was kind, yes. He had saved her, but he was also a Hell's Angel, a biker, a man with scars and tattoos and a reputation that preceded him. Could she really get in a car with him? Could she really trust him with her children's lives? But then she looked at her kids, at their heavy eyes, their yawning mouths, their small bodies already shivering at the thought of the cold, and she made a decision. Okay, she whispered. Thank you. They walked to the parking lot. The cold hit them immediately, sharp and bitter. Elena pulled her children close, trying to share what little warmth she had. Marcus led them to a large black SUV parked at the edge of the lot. He opened the back door. Get in. Heat's already running. The twins climbed inside gratefully. Elena followed, pulling them against her body. Thank you, she said again. I know, I keep saying it. Then stop saying it. But Marcus's voice was gentle. Just tell me where to go. Elena gave him the address. Marcus typed it into his phone. 28 minutes. Sit back. Relax. He started the engine and pulled out of the parking lot. The twins were asleep within 3 minutes. The warmth, the full stomachs, the exhaustion, it all caught up with them at once. They slumped against their mother, their faces peaceful for the first time in days. Elena watched them sleep. Her heart was full of something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Thank you, she whispered one more time, too soft for Marcus to hear, or so she thought. You're welcome, he replied, keeping his eyes on the road. Elena smiled and closed her eyes. She didn't see the headlights behind them, didn't see the car that had followed them out of the parking lot, didn't see Derek Shaw's face twisted with rage behind the wheel. But Marcus did. He checked his rearview mirror. The car had been there since they left the diner, keeping its distance, but following, definitely following. Marcus's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Elena, she opened her eyes. Yes, I need you to stay calm. What? Why, there's a car behind us. It's been following us since we left the diner. Elena's blood went cold. She turned to look, but Marcus stopped her. Don't let them know we've noticed. Who is it? I'm not sure, but I have a guess. He pulled out his phone and hit a button. It rang once, twice. Yeah, Bull, we've got a tail. Copy that. We're on it. Marcus hung up. In the side mirror, Elena could see 3 motorcycles roaring up behind them. Hell's Angels patches visible in the streetlights. Marcus's brothers. Listen to me, Marcus said. Whatever happens, you stay in this car. You keep your children down. You don't move until I tell you it's safe. Understand? Elena nodded, terrified. Good. He pressed the accelerator. The SUV surged forward, and behind them the headlights followed. The SUV accelerated through the empty streets. Elena's heart was pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. Her children were still asleep against her body, unaware of the danger following them through the darkness. Marcus, I'm scared. I know, but I need you to trust me. Who is following us? Is it that man from the diner? Marcus checked the rearview mirror again. The headlights were getting closer. Probably. Rich guys like him don't handle humiliation well. They always got to prove something. What does he want? Doesn't matter what he wants. He's not getting anywhere near you or your kids. His phone buzzed. He answered without taking his eyes off the road. Talk to me. Bull's voice crackled through the speaker. We got eyes on the tail. Black Mercedes. 3 vehicles back. There's 2 more cars that joined him. Looks like he called some friends. Elena's blood turned to ice. 3 cars. That meant multiple people, multiple threats. How many total? Can't tell yet. At least 6, maybe more. Marcus's jaw tightened. Options. We can take the highway, try to lose them, or we can find a spot and have a conversation. There's kids in this car, Bull. I know, brother. That's why I'm asking. Marcus was silent for a moment. Elena watched his face in the dim light of the dashboard. He was calculating, weighing risks, making decisions that could mean life or death. The warehouse on 5th, Marcus finally said. It's club property, fenced, secure. We lead them there, we control the ground. Copy that. We'll box them in once you're inside. Marcus hung up and looked at Elena through the rear view mirror. Change of plans. I'm not taking you home tonight. What? But my children. Your children are safer with me right now than anywhere else. That man back there, he's not just following us because his ego got bruised. Men like him, when they feel small, they do dangerous things to feel big again. I'm not letting him anywhere near your family. Elena wanted to argue. Every instinct told her to grab her children and run. But run where her apartment was a single room in a building full of strangers. No locks that worked. No neighbors who cared. If Derek Shaw wanted to find her, he would. Okay, she whispered. I trust you. Marcus nodded and pressed the accelerator harder. The twins stirred but didn't wake. Elena held them tighter, praying silently that this night would end with all of them safe. 10 minutes later, Marcus turned onto a dark industrial street. Abandoned buildings loomed on either side. No street lights, no signs of life, just shadows and silence. Where are we? Somewhere safe. He pulled up to a large metal gate. It opened automatically and the SUV rolled through into a fenced compound. Behind them, Elena heard the roar of motorcycles. Marcus's brothers had arrived. The gate closed. Seconds later, headlights appeared at the end of the street. The Mercedes. And behind it, 2 more cars. They stopped outside the fence. Marcus killed the engine and turned to Elena. Stay here, lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone except me. Understand, Marcus, promise me. Elena's voice shook. I promise. He climbed out of the SUV and walked toward the gate. His brothers fell into formation beside him. 5 Hell's Angels standing shoulder to shoulder facing the darkness beyond the fence. Elena watched through the windshield, her heart in her throat. The Mercedes door opened. Derek Shaw stepped out. But he wasn't alone. 6 men emerged from the other vehicles. Big men, rough-looking, the kind of men who solve problems with their fists. Derek walked to the fence, a smug smile on his face. Well, look at this. The hero and his little gang. Very impressive. Marcus didn't respond. He just stood there, arms crossed, waiting. I'm going to give you one chance, Derek continued. Send the woman and her kids out here, and we'll call it even. You embarrassed me tonight, fine. I can live with that. But I need something in return. I need to teach that trash a lesson about respecting her betters. Bull cracked his knuckles. This guy's serious right now. Dead serious, Derek said. I've got 6 men here who are very good at teaching lessons. And I've got more on the way. You really want to start a war over some welfare queen and her brats? Marcus finally spoke. His voice was calm, quiet, terrifying. You've got about 30 seconds to get back in your car and drive away. After that, things are going to get very unpleasant for you. Derek laughed. Unpleasant? I'm not scared of you. You're just bikers. Losers playing dress up. I could buy this entire block and have it demolished tomorrow. 20 seconds. You think your little fence is going to stop us? I'll have a crew here in an hour to tear it down. 10 seconds. Derek's confidence finally started to crack. He looked at his men, then back at Marcus. You're bluffing. Marcus smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Try me. For a long, tense moment, nobody moved. The air was thick with the promise of violence. Then Derek took a step back. This isn't over, he said. I know who you are. I know where your clubhouse is. I've got friends in this city. Powerful friends. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Leave. I'm going, but I'll be back. And when I come back, you're going to wish you'd never been born. He turned and walked to his car. His men followed. One by one, the vehicles pulled away, disappearing into the darkness. When the last taillight faded, Bull let out a long breath. Well, that was fun. Marcus didn't respond. He was still staring at the empty street, his mind working. He's not done, Razor said quietly. A guy like that, he's gonna come back harder. I know. What's the play? Marcus turned and looked at the SUV. Through the windshield, he could see Elena's pale face watching him. Her children still asleep against her body. The play is we protect that woman and her kids, whatever it takes. For how long? For as long as it takes. Bull raised an eyebrow. Brother, we just met her tonight. You sure about this? Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with old pain. My mother died alone. No one protected her. No one stood up for her. No one gave a damn whether she lived or died. I'm not letting that happen to someone else. Not while I'm breathing. The men exchanged glances. They had known Marcus for years. They had seen him fight, bleed, nearly die more than once. But they had never heard him talk like this. Whatever was happening, it was personal. All right, brother, Bull finally said. We're with you, all the way. Marcus nodded and walked back to the SUV. He opened the door gently, trying not to wake the children. It's over, he said softly. They're gone. Elena's face crumpled with relief. Thank God. Thank God. But we can't go to your apartment tonight. It's not safe. That man knows what you look like. He probably knows where you live by now. If he wants to find you, he will. Then where do we go? I have a place, outside the city, secure, private. No one will bother you there. Elena hesitated. The fear was still there, coiled tight in her chest. But stronger than the fear was the exhaustion, the bone-deep tiredness of a woman who had been fighting alone for far too long. Just for tonight. Just for tonight. Tomorrow we figure out the next step. She nodded slowly. Okay. Marcus closed the door and walked around to the driver's seat. His brothers mounted their bikes. As the convoy pulled out of the compound, Elena looked back at the fence at the dark street beyond. She had walked into a diner tonight with $20 and a prayer. Now she was riding through the night with a group of bikers she had just met running from a man who wanted to hurt her toward a destination she didn't know. Her life had changed completely in a few hours. And somehow, despite everything, she felt safer than she had in years. The drive took almost an hour. The city lights faded behind them, replaced by darkness and open road. The twins slept through all of it, their small bodies finally at peace. Elena drifted in and out of consciousness, exhaustion pulling at her edges. Every time she woke, she saw Marcus's silhouette in the driver's seat, steady and alert. He never looked tired, never looked worried, just focused, present, ready. It was almost 2 a.m. when they finally stopped. Elena opened her eyes and saw a large house at the end of a long driveway. Not fancy, but solid, well-maintained, surrounded by trees and darkness. Where are we? How am I? Safe house, Marcus said. Club property. We use it for families in trouble. Witnesses, people who need to disappear for a while. Disappear. Wrong word. I mean people who need to be somewhere safe while things get sorted out. He climbed out and opened her door. The cold air rushed in, sharp and biting. Come on, let's get the kids inside. Elena lifted Lily into her arms. Marcus took Lucas without asking, cradling the sleeping boy against his chest with surprising gentleness. They walked to the front door. Marcus punched a code into a keypad and the lock clicked open. Inside the house was warm, clean, simple furniture but comfortable. A fireplace in the living room, a kitchen stocked with food. There's a bedroom upstairs, Marcus said. Queen bed, plenty of blankets. Bathrooms at the end of the hall. You'll find everything you need. Elena stood in the middle of the living room, overwhelmed. This is too much. I can't accept this. You already did. Come on. Let's get the kids to bed. They carried the twins upstairs and laid them on the bed. Elena tucked the blankets around them, kissing their foreheads gently. Sleep well, babies, she whispered. Mommy's here. She stood there for a long moment, watching them breathe. Her children, her entire world, the only reason she got up every morning, the only thing keeping her alive. When she turned to frown, Marcus was standing in the doorway watching her. You're a good mother. The words hit her like a wave. She felt her composure cracking, all the emotions she had been holding back flooding to the surface. I don't feel like a good mother. I feel like a failure. I can't feed them. I can't keep them warm. I can't even give them a Christmas tree. That's not failure, that's struggle. There's a difference, Vermon. Is there? Marcus stepped closer. His voice was low and tense. Failure is giving up. Failure is walking away. Failure is choosing yourself over your kids. You've done none of those things. You've sacrificed everything to keep them safe. You've gone hungry so they could eat. You've worn thin clothes so they could stay warm. That's not failure, Elena. That's love. Elena's tears started falling. She couldn't stop them anymore. I'm so tired. I've been fighting for so long. Every day is a battle. Every night is a prayer that tomorrow will be better. But it never is. It just keeps getting worse. I know. How do you know? How could you possibly know what this feels like? Because I watched my mother go through the same thing. Every day of my childhood, she fought and fought and fought, and nobody helped her. Nobody saw her. She was invisible. Just another poor woman trying to survive in a world that didn't give a damn about her. He paused. His eyes were distant, seeing something far away. She used to tell me that God tests the ones he loves the hardest. That struggle is a gift because it makes us strong. I believed her for a long time, but then she died, and I realized the truth. What truth? That it wasn't God testing her. It was the world failing her. The systems that were supposed to help failing in her. The people who could have made a difference failing her. She didn't die because God wanted her to be strong. She died because nobody cared enough to save her. Elena stared at him. In his words, she heard her own story, her own pain, her own fear that one day she would simply disappear and no one would notice. I'm scared, she admitted. I'm scared that I'm going to end up like your mother. That I'm going to work myself to death and my children are going to grow up alone. Marcus took her hands. His grip was warm, strong. That's not going to happen. How can you say that? You don't know. I know because I'm not going to let it happen. Not this time. I couldn't save my mother, but I can help you, and I will. That's a promise, Witeo. Elena searched his face for any sign of deception, any hint that this was all a trick, a manipulation, a con. She found nothing but sincerity. Why? She whispered. Why do you care so much about a stranger? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. Because when I look at you, I see her. I see my mother. I see every woman who ever had to choose between feeding herself and feeding her children. Every mother who worked 3 bussen and still couldn't make ends meet. Every family that fell through the cracks while the world looked the other way. He paused. I can't change the past. I can't bring my mother back, but I can change your future. I can make sure your children don't grow up the way I did. And if I can do that, maybe it'll mean something. Maybe her death won't be completely pointless. Elena didn't know what to do. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, holding the hands of a man she had met only hours ago, a man who had shown her more kindness in one night than she had received in years. Thank you, she finally managed. I don't have the words to tell you what this means. You don't need words. Just get some rest. Tomorrow we figure everything out. He released her hands and stepped back. I'll be downstairs if you need anything. My brothers are outside keeping watch. Nobody's getting near this house tonight. Elena nodded. Marcus. He stopped at the door. Yeah, your mother would be proud of you. Something flickered across his face. Pain, maybe, or hope. I'd like to think so. And then he was gone. Elena stood alone in the room listening to his footsteps descend the stairs. She looked at her sleeping children, at the warm bed, at the solid wall surrounding them. For the first time in years, she felt safe. She climbed into the bed beside her twins, pulling them close. Their small bodies were warm against hers. Their breathing was slow and peaceful. "Thank you, God," she whispered into the darkness. "Thank you for sending him." She closed her eyes, and for the first time in months, Elena Martinez slept without nightmares. Downstairs, Marcus sat alone in the living room. The fire crackled softly, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Bull appeared in the doorway. "Perimeter's secure. Demon and Razor are taking first watch." "Good. You should get some sleep, brother. It's been a long night." Marcus didn't move. His eyes stayed fixed on the flames. "In a minute!" Bull studied his friend for a moment. They had known each other for 15 years, been through wars together, buried brothers together. But he had never seen Marcus like this. "You're thinking about her." "I'm thinking about a lot of things." "The woman, Elena, you feel something for her?" Marcus finally looked up. "It's not like that." "Then what is it like?" Silence stretched between them. The fire popped and hissed. "When I was 17, Marcus said slowly, "the day my mother died, I made a promise. I swore that if I ever met someone like her, someone fighting alone, someone drowning without a hand to hold, I would help them. No questions, no conditions, just help. And you've kept that promise. I've tried, done what I could when I could, but tonight, Marcus shook his head. "Tonight is different. This woman, those kids, something about them." He stopped, couldn't find the words. Bull sat down across from him. "You know what I see? I see a man who's been carrying a ghost for 30 years. A man who's been trying to pay a debt that can never be repaid. Maybe this woman is your chance to finally put that ghost to rest. Or maybe I'm just a fool who doesn't know when to walk away. Maybe, but I've followed you into a lot of bad situations, Iron. And you've never steered me wrong. If your gut says this woman needs protecting, then we protect her. Simple as that." Marcus looked at his brother, his friend, his family. "Derek Shaw isn't going to let this go." "I know. He's got money, connections. He could make a lot of trouble for us." "I know that too. And you're still willing to help." Bull smiled. It was a hard smile, but genuine. "Brother, I didn't join this club to play it safe. I joined because I believed in something, Ming. We protect the weak. We stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. That woman up there, she's one of us now, and anyone who comes for her, comes for all of us." Marcus felt something loosen in his chest, something he hadn't even realized was tight. "Thanks, Bull. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when this is over and we're all still breathing." He stood up and headed for the door. "Get some sleep, Iron. Tomorrow's going to be a long day." When he was gone, Marcus turned back to the fire. He sat there for a long time, watching the flames, thinking about mothers and children and promises made in the darkness. Somewhere above him, Elena and her twins slept peacefully for the first time in months. And outside, the snow began to fall again, covering the world in white silence. 4 hours later, Marcus's phone rang. He was awake instantly, years of training kicking in before his conscious mind caught up. "Yeah." It was Demon's voice, tense, urgent. "We've got company." 2 vehicles just turned onto the road, moving slow, lights off. Marcus was on his feet before Demon finished talking. "How far out?" "Half a mile, maybe less." "Wake everyone. Get Elena and the kids to the basement. Now." He hung up and grabbed his jacket. His gun was already on his hip, where it always was. He took the stairs 2 at a time and pushed open the bedroom door. Elena sat up immediately, eyes wide with fear. "What's happening?" "We've got visitors. I need you to take the kids and go to the basement. There's a reinforced door at the bottom of the stairs. Lock it behind you and don't open it until I come for you." "Marcus, there's no time. Go, now." Elena scooped up Lily. Lucas woke up crying, confused and scared. "Mommy, what's happening?" "It's okay, baby. We just need to go downstairs for a little while." Marcus lifted Lucas into his arms. The boy clung to him, trembling. "It's going to be okay, buddy. I promise. But I need you to be brave. Can you do that for me? Lucas nodded, his lower lip quivering. They moved quickly down the stairs. The basement door was hidden behind a bookshelf. Marcus pushed it aside and revealed a heavy steel door. Inside, both of you. Elena stepped through, still carrying Lily. Marcus handed Lucas to her. Lock this door. Don't open it for anyone except me. If something goes wrong, there's a tunnel at the back of the basement. It leads to the woods about a quarter mile from here. Follow it, get to the road, and call 911. Elena's face was white with terror. What about you? I'll be fine. Marcus, he cupped her face with one hand. His touch was gentle but firm. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. That's a promise. Now lock this door. He stepped back. Lena's eyes held his for one long moment. 1,000 words passed between them in silence. Then she closed the door. Marcus heard the lock engage. He turned and walked back upstairs. Through the front windows, he could see headlights approaching. 2 vehicles, moving slowly, deliberately. Bull appeared beside him, gun drawn. Razor and Demon are flanking left. I've got right. Any ID on the vehicles? Negative, but I'm betting it's Shaw's boys. Marcus watched the headlights creep closer. He moved faster than I expected. Rich guys always think money can buy anything, including a quick resolution. The vehicles stopped at the edge of the property. Doors opened, men emerged. Marcus counted 8 of them, all armed, all moving with the confidence of professionals. This isn't amateurs, Bull muttered. Shaw hired real muscle. Marcus's jaw tightened. Doesn't matter, they came to the wrong house. He opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. 8 men stood in the snow, their breath forming clouds in the cold air. They were dressed in black faces, hard weapons visible. One of them stepped forward, older than the others, more composed. The leader. Marcus Stone. Who's asking? Okay, my name doesn't matter. What matters is the message I'm here to deliver. I'm listening. Derek Shaw sends his regards. He wants you to know that this doesn't have to get ugly. Hand over the woman and her children and we walk away. No violence, no bloodshed, simple transaction. Marcus smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. And if I refuse, then things get complicated. For who? The leader's expression didn't change. For everyone. Marcus looked at the 8 men spread across his property. 8 professionals. 8 threats. Against him and 3 brothers. The math wasn't good, but math had never stopped him before. Here's my counteroffer, Marcus said calmly. You turn around right now and walk away. Tell Shaw that the woman and her children are under my protection. If he wants them, he can come get them himself. But if any of you take one more step toward this house, you're not walking away at all. The leader studied him for a long moment. You're serious. Dead serious. There are 8 of us, 4 of you. I've faced worse odds. You're willing to die for a woman you just bet. Marcus's voice was ice. I'm willing to kill for her. The silence stretched, the snow fell, and somewhere in the darkness, a gun clicked. The gun click came from behind the 8 men. Everyone froze. From the shadows of the tree line, 3 more Hell's Angels emerged, weapons raised, faces hard as stone. The leader of Shaw's crew spun around, his composure finally cracking. What the? Surprise, said a gravelly voice. Marcus recognized him immediately. Crusher, president of the Nevada chapter. 6'5", 300 pounds of muscle and bad attitude. You boys picked the wrong house on the wrong night, Crusher continued. This is Hell's Angels territory, and that man you're threatening, he's family. The math had just changed. 8 against 7. Still not great odds, but a hell of a lot better than before. The leader looked from Marcus to Crusher, calculating his options. His men were shifting nervously, no longer confident. This isn't your fight, he said to Crusher. Any fight involving my brothers is my fight. You got about 10 seconds to make a decision. Walk away, breathing, or get carried away in bags. Your choice. Marcus stepped off the porch and walked toward the leader. Slowly, deliberately, each step heavy with menace. You came here thinking this would be easy. Rich man pays poor woman, suffers, everyone goes home happy. But you made a mistake. You thought I was alone. He stopped 3 feet from the leader's face. I'm never alone. The leader's jaw tightened, his hand hovered near his weapon. For one terrible moment, it looked like he was going to draw. Then he lowered his hand. This isn't over. It is for tonight. Tell Shaw if he wants to come for that woman, he can come himself. But if he sends anyone else, they won't be walking away. The leader held Marcus's gaze for a long moment. Then he turned and signaled his men. Move out. They retreated to their vehicles. Doors slammed, engines roared, and then they were gone, taillights disappearing into the snowy darkness. Marcus didn't move until the sound of engines faded completely. Then his shoulders sagged just slightly, just enough for Bull to notice. You okay, brother? Yeah, just tired. Crusher walked over, holstering his weapon. Hell of a Christmas Eve iron. How'd you know we needed backup? Bull called me 3 hours ago, said you'd gotten yourself into something complicated. I was already on my way to visit family in the area, so I brought a few friends. Marcus looked at Bull. You called him? Bull shrugged. You were too busy playing hero. Someone had to think ahead. Marcus wanted to be angry, but he couldn't be. Bull had probably just saved all their lives. Thanks. Thank me later. Right now, we need to figure out what to do about Shaw. He's not going to stop. I know. This was just the opening move. Next time he'll bring more men, better men, maybe even cops. Marcus nodded slowly. His mind was already working, running through scenarios, calculating risks. Get everyone inside. I need to check on Elena. He walked back to the house, leaving his brothers to secure the perimeter. The basement door was still locked. He knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. The code they had agreed on. The lock clicked. The door opened. Elena stood there, Lily in her arms, Lucas clinging to her leg. Her face was pale, streaked with dried tears. Is it over for now? What does that mean? It means we're safe tonight, but we need to talk about what happens next. Elena's legs gave out. Marcus caught her before she hit the ground. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing, all the fear and tension of the past hours finally breaking free. I can't do this. I can't. My children, they're so scared. I'm so scared. I know. He held her while she cried. Lucas wrapped his arms around both of them, his small body trembling. Lily buried her face in her mother's shoulder, whimpering softly. Marcus had held a lot of people in his life. Brothers wounded in fights, friends dying from overdoses, his mother in her final moments. But this was different. This woman, these children, they weren't his family. They weren't his responsibility. And yet he couldn't let go. Listen to me, he said softly, lifting Elena's chin so she could see his eyes. I'm not going to let anything happen to you or your children. That's not a promise. That's a fact. How can you be so sure? Because I've been fighting my whole life, fighting to survive, fighting to protect the people I care about. And I've never lost anyone I swore to protect. I'm not starting now. Elena searched his face, looking for doubt, looking for deception. She found neither. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I believe you. Marcus helped her to her feet. The twins were still clinging to her, refusing to let go. Let's get you back upstairs. You need to rest. I don't think I can sleep. Then just lie down, close your eyes, let your body recover even if your mind won't. He guided them up the stairs and back to the bedroom. The twins climbed onto the bed, immediately burrowing under the covers like small animals seeking shelter. Elena sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Marcus? Yeah. Who are you really? The question hung in the air. Heavy. Loaded. I'm just a man. No, you're not. Regular men don't risk their lives for strangers. Regular men don't stand up to hired killers. Regular men don't have backup chapters showing up at 3 a.m. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I'm the son of a woman who died because nobody helped her. I'm a man who made a lot of mistakes and hurt a lot of people before I figured out what really mattered. I'm a Hell's Angel, which means I'm part of something bigger than myself. And tonight I'm the guy standing between you and the wolves. He paused. That's who I am. Take it or leave it. Elena studied him, this scarred, tattooed, dangerous man who had shown her more kindness in one night than she had received in years. I'll take it, she said softly. Something passed between them. A connection, an understanding. Then the moment broke. Get some rest, Marcus said. Tomorrow we figure out how to end this. He turned and walked toward the door. Marcus, he stopped. Merry Christmas. He glanced back. Despite everything, a small smile crossed his face. Merry Christmas, Elena. Morning came slowly. Elena woke to find sunlight streaming through the windows and her children still asleep beside her. For a moment, she forgot where she was, forgot everything that had happened. Then it all came rushing back. The diner, the money, Derek Shaw, the chase, the safe house, the men with guns. She sat up quickly, her heart pounding. Mommy, Lily stirred beside her. What's wrong? But nothing, baby. Everything's fine. Go back to sleep. But Lily was already fully awake, her eyes wide and alert. Where are we? We're at a friend's house, remember? The big man with the scary face, he's not scary, baby. He's nice. He helped us. Lucas sat up, rubbing his eyes. Is it Christmas? Elena's heart clenched. She had completely forgotten. Christmas morning. Her children had woken up on Christmas morning in a strange house with no tree, no presents, nothing. She had failed them again. Yes, sweetheart, it's Christmas. Lucas looked around the room, confusion on his face. But where's Santa? Didn't he come? Elena opened her mouth to answer, but no words came out. What could she say? That Santa didn't visit poor people, that the magic of Christmas was only for those who could afford it. A knock at the door saved her. Come in. Marcus stepped inside. He was carrying a tray with hot milk pancakes and fresh fruit. Merry Christmas, he said. Thought you might be hungry. The twins' eyes went wide. Pancakes, Lucas shouted. With chocolate chips, Lily added. Marcus set the tray on the bed. Eat up. There's more downstairs when you're done. Elena watched her children attack the food with joy. Real joy, the kind she hadn't seen in months. Thank you, she whispered to Marcus. You didn't have to do this. Yeah, I did. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out 2 small packages wrapped in newspaper. These aren't much, but I figured the kids should have something to open. Elena's breath caught. Marcus, don't make a big deal out of it. They're just small things, candy, stickers, nothing special. But it was special. It was the most special thing anyone had done for her children in years. She took the packages with trembling hands. Lily, Lucas, look what Santa brought. The twins stopped eating and stared at the packages. For us, Lily whispered. For you. They tore into the wrapping with abandon, squealing with delight at the simple treasures inside. A pack of stickers, a chocolate bar, a small toy car, things that cost maybe $5 total. To them, it might as well have been $1 million. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Santa. Elena looked at Marcus through her tears. He was leaning against the door frame, arms crossed, watching the scene with an expression she couldn't quite read. Thank you, she mouthed silently. He nodded once, then his phone rang. His expression changed instantly. The softness vanished, replaced by something hard and alert. Yeah, he listened for a moment. His jaw tightened. When, another pause. How many? His eyes met Elena's. Something in them made her blood run cold. I'll be right down. He hung up. What's wrong? Stay here. Keep the kids calm. I'll be back. Marcus, what's happening? Just stay here. He was gone before she could ask again. Elena pulled her children close, her heart pounding. Whatever was happening, it wasn't good. Downstairs, Marcus found his brothers gathered in the living room. Their faces were grim. Talk to me. Bull handed him a phone. On the screen was a news article. Marcus read it again. His hand started shaking. No. Brother, bowing. No, this isn't possible. The headline stared back at him. Local businessman reports kidnapping by biker gang. Below it, Derek Shaw's face. Looking distraught, concerned, victimized. And next to Shaw's face, a photo of Elena, taken from some old social media account. Caption, missing mother and her 2 children allegedly abducted by members of the Hells Angels motorcycle club. Son of a bitch, Marcus breathed. He flipped the script, Bull said. Made himself the victim. Now we're the criminals. This is insane. We didn't kidnap anyone. She came with us willingly. Try explaining that to the cops. Rich white businessman versus convicted bikers. Who do you think they're gonna believe? Marcus threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. How long before they find us? Could be hours, could be minutes. Shaw knows people. Powerful people. If he's got cops in his pocket, they could already be on their way. Marcus paced the room, his mind racing. Everything had just changed. What started as a simple act of kindness had become something far more dangerous. Options. We could run, take Elena and the kids disappear into the network. Club's got safe houses from here to Mexico. She's not built for that life. Neither are her kids. Then we stand and fight. Prove our innocence. House Shaw's got money lawyers, media connections. We've got rap sheets and leather jackets. Crusher spoke up from the corner. There's another option. Marcus looked at him. What? We go after Shaw directly, not with violence, with truth. Men like him always have secrets, dirty deals, buried bodies. We find his dirt, we expose him, we take away his credibility. That takes time we don't have. Then we buy time. How? Crusher smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. I know a few people in law enforcement, real ones who don't take bribes. If we can get Elena to make a statement on record about what really happened last night, it creates doubt, makes the cops slow down, investigate properly instead of just kicking in our door. Marcus considered this. It was risky. Everything was risky, but it was better than running. Elena has to agree. Then go ask her. Marcus climbed the stairs with a weight in his chest. How was he supposed to explain this? How was he supposed to tell her that the man who tried to destroy her was now painting her as a victim of kidnapping? He knocked on the bedroom door. Come in. Elena was sitting on the bed, her children on either side. They had finished their breakfast and were playing with their new toys, oblivious to the storm gathering outside. Can we talk privately? Elena's face tightened with worry. Kids, stay here. Mommy will be right back. She followed Marcus into the hallway. He closed the door behind them. What's happening? Shaw made a move, a smart one. He told her everything. The news article, the kidnapping accusation, the danger they were all in now. Elena's face went white. He's saying you kidnapped us, yes. But that's insane. I came willingly. The whole diner saw what happened. Rich men don't need truth. They just need money and connections. So what do? There's a way out, but it involves you. You'd have to make a statement to the police. Tell them what really happened. On the record. It would create enough doubt to slow everything down, give us time to find evidence against Shaw. Elena was trembling. I've never dealt with police before. Not like this. What if they don't believe me? They might not, but it's our best shot. And if it doesn't work, Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then we run, and we keep running until Shaw gives up or makes a mistake. Elena leaned against the wall, her eyes closed. Marcus could see the weight pressing down on her. The impossible choices, the crushing fear. I never wanted any of this, she whispered. I just wanted to feed my children. I know. I walked into that diner with $20 and a prayer. Now I'm hiding from hired killers and accused of being kidnapped by a biker gang. Life doesn't always give us choices. Sometimes it just gives us situations. Elena opened her eyes. They were filled with a fire Marcus hadn't seen before. I'll do it. You're sure that man tried to humiliate me? He tried to make me beg. He sent people to hurt my children. And now he's trying to make me look like a victim so he can get away with it. She straightened her spine. I'm done being afraid. I'm done being helpless. If making a statement is what it takes to stop him, then I'll make a statement. I'll tell everyone exactly what kind of monster Derek Shaw really is. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Respect, admiration, maybe something more. Okay, I'll make the calls. But Elena, this is going to get ugly before it gets better. It's already ugly. At least now I'm fighting back. 2 hours later, a detective arrived at the safe house. Her name was Sarah Chen. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense attitude. Crusher had vouched for her, said she was one of the good ones. Marcus hoped he was right. They sat in the living room, Elena on one side of the table, Detective Chen on the other. The twins were upstairs with Bull watching cartoons and eating snacks, blissfully unaware of what was happening below. Mrs. Martinez, I need you to tell me everything that happened last night, from the beginning. Elena took a deep breath, and she told her story. The diner, the $20, the soup and bread. Derek Shaw stealing her money, his humiliation, his cruelty, Marcus stepping in, the confrontation, the escape, the men who followed them, the siege at the safe house, everything. Detective Chen listened without interrupting. Her pen moved steadily across her notepad, recording every detail. When Elena finished, the detective was quiet for a long moment. Mrs. Martinez, do you understand the implications of what you're telling me? Derek Shaw is a prominent businessman. He has powerful friends. He's already gone to the media with a very different version of events. I know what he said. He's lying. Can you prove it? There were dozens of witnesses at that diner. The waitress, the owner, other customers. They all saw what he did. Detective Chen nodded slowly. And Mr. Stone, the man you say helped you. Elena glanced at Marcus, who was standing by the window. He saved my life. He saved my children's lives. Whatever else he may be, whatever his past, that's the truth. You understand that Mr. Stone has a criminal record, that his association with the Hells Angels makes him a questionable witness. I understand that men with criminal records can still do good things. I understand that the clothes someone wears don't determine their character. I understand that last night when no one else would help me, he did. Detective Chen studied Elena for a long moment. Then she turned to Marcus. Mr. Stone, is there anything you'd like to add? Marcus stepped forward. Derek Shaw is a predator. He saw a vulnerable woman and decided to make her suffer for his entertainment. When I stopped him, his ego couldn't handle it. So he escalated, sent hired muscle to our safe house. When that failed, he went to the media with lies. And you can prove this. The men he sent left tire tracks on the property, shell casings from when they drew their weapons. 8 men, 3 vehicles arriving at 3 a.m. on Christmas morning. That's not a social visit. Detective Chen wrote something down. I'll need to examine the scene, collect evidence. You're welcome to. We have nothing to hide. The detective closed her notepad and stood. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a complicated situation. Derek Shaw has already shaped the narrative. Changing public opinion is going to be difficult, but not impossible. Not impossible. If the evidence supports your story, if the witnesses corroborate what you've told me, there's a chance we can turn this around. Elena stood up, her legs shaky but her voice strong. Detective Chen, that man tried to destroy me. He called my children trash. He sent killers to our door on Christmas Eve. All because I was poor. All because I couldn't fight back. She stepped closer. I'm fighting back now. I don't care how powerful he is. I don't care how many connections he has. I want him to face consequences for what he's done. Detective Chen looked at her for a long moment. Something flickered in her eyes, understanding maybe, or respect. I'll do everything I can, Mrs. Martinez. That's a promise. She headed for the door. I'll be in touch. When she was gone, Elena collapsed onto the couch. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving her exhausted and drained. Marcus sat down beside her. You did good. Did I just make everything worse? You told the truth. That's never wrong. Truth doesn't matter when you're fighting someone with money. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's the only thing that matters. Elena leaned her head back and closed her eyes. What happens now? Now we wait. Chen examines the evidence, interviews the witnesses, builds a case. And Shaw, no. He'll make more moves, try to pressure us, discredit us. He's not going to go quietly. So we're still in danger. Yes. Elena was silent for a moment. I've never had anyone fight for me before. My whole life I've been on my own. When my husband left, I had no one. When I lost my job, I had no one. Every crisis, every struggle, I faced alone. She opened her eyes and looked at Marcus. Until you. Marcus didn't know what to say. He wasn't good with words, wasn't good with emotions. His whole life he had expressed himself through actions, not speeches. So he did the only thing that felt right. He took her hand. You're not alone anymore, he said quietly. Whatever happens next, you're not facing it alone. Elena's fingers tightened around his. Promise. Promise. They sat there in silence, hands linked, watching the morning light grow stronger. Outside, the world was waking up. Families were opening presents. Children were laughing. Christmas was happening all around them. But inside that safe house, a different kind of Christmas was unfolding. A Christmas of truth and courage, of strangers becoming allies, of broken people finding strength in each other. And somewhere in the city, Derek Shaw was plotting his next move. The war was far from over. But for the first time, Elena felt like she might actually win. Upstairs, the twins had finished their cartoons. Lucas pressed his face against the window, watching the snow fall. Lily, look, it's still snowing. So do you think we can build a snowman? Lily joined him at the window. I don't know. We'd have to ask Mommy. Mommy's busy with the big man. His name is Marcus. I know, but he's really big. They stood there for a moment, two small figures silhouetted against the winter light. Lucas. Yeah. Are we safe here? Lucas thought about it. He remembered the scary men, the loud noises, his mother's tears. But he also remembered Marcus. The way he had stood between them and danger. The way he had carried Lucas to safety. The way he had promised everything would be okay. Yeah, Lucas finally said. I think we are. Lily nodded slowly. Me too. She reached out and took her brother's hand, and together they watched the snow fall on Christmas morning. 3 days passed. 3 days of waiting. 3 days of watching the news. 3 days of holding their breath every time a car drove past the safe house. Elena had barely slept. Every creak of the house made her jump. Every ring of Marcus's phone sent her heart racing. She was living on the edge of a knife, waiting for it to cut. The twins somehow had adapted. Children were resilient like that. They played in the living room. They watched cartoons. They asked Marcus endless questions about his motorcycle, his tattoos, his scars. And Marcus, to Elena's constant surprise, answered everyone with patience and care. Why do you have a skull on your jacket? It's a symbol. Means we're not afraid of death. Are you afraid of anything? Marcus had glanced at Elena before answering. Yeah, I'm afraid of not being there when someone needs me. Now it was the morning of the 4th day and Detective Chen had finally called. She's on her way, Marcus said, pocketing his phone. Says she has news. Elena's stomach dropped. Good news or bad news? She didn't say. That means it's bad. Not necessarily. Chen plays things close to the vest. She wouldn't tip her hand over the phone. But Elena could see it in his eyes, the worry, the tension. Marcus wasn't as calm as he pretended to be. 40 minutes later, Detective Chen arrived. She walked into the living room with a thick folder under her arm and an expression that gave nothing away. Bull had taken the twins outside to build a snowman, giving the adults privacy. Mrs. Martinez, Mr. Stone, thank you for your patience. What did you find? Elena asked immediately. Chen sat down and opened the folder. I interviewed 17 witnesses from the diner. 15 of them corroborated your account completely. Derek Shaw stole your money. He humiliated you. He tried to force you to beg. Mr. Stone intervened. Shaw left voluntarily. Elena felt a wave of relief crash over her. So people believe me. The witnesses do. That's the good news. Marcus leaned forward. What's the bad news? Chen pulled out a photograph and slid it across the table. It showed Elena climbing into Marcus's SUV in the diner parking lot, her children beside her. Shaw's lawyer got hold of this. Security camera from a business across the street. They're arguing that this image shows you willingly entering a vehicle with a known criminal, that you chose to go with Mr. Stone. I did choose because he was helping me. I know that, but Shaw's team is spinning it differently. They're saying you were coerced, manipulated, that Mr. Stone used the confrontation with Shaw as a pretext to gain your trust and then abduct you. Marcus slammed his fist on the table. That's insane. It's a legal strategy. And unfortunately, it's working. The DA's office is under pressure to investigate. Shaw has friends in high places. They're pushing for a full criminal inquiry. Elena felt the blood drain from her face. Criminal inquiry against Marcus. Against all of them. The entire Hell's Angels chapter. Kidnapping, assault, false imprisonment. If Shaw gets his way, every man in this house could be facing serious charges. The room fell silent. Elena looked at Marcus, at Bull, at the other brothers who had risked everything to protect her and her children. This is my fault, she whispered. All of this is because of me. No, Marcus's voice was sharp. This is because Derek Shaw is a vindictive petty man who can't handle being told no. Don't you dare blame yourself. But if you hadn't gone to a diner to feed your kids existed while poor, you didn't do anything wrong, Elena. You survived. That's not a crime. Detective Chen cleared her throat. There's more. Marcus turned to her. More, oh yeah. I've been doing some digging into Derek Shaw's background. The official story is that he's a successful businessman. Real estate development, construction, legitimate enterprises. But there are rumors, whispers, nothing I can prove yet but enough to make me curious. What kind of rumors? Chen pulled out another document. Shaw Development has been involved in 6 major projects over the past decade. Every single one of them has had suspicious incidents. Fires, accidents, workers injured or killed, and every single time the investigation was shut down before any conclusions could be reached. Elena frowned. What does that mean? It means someone with money and influence has been covering up something. I don't know what yet, but Shaw's not clean, not by a long shot. Marcus was quiet processing this information. Can you prove any of it? Not yet. I need more time, more evidence. We might not have time. If the DA moves forward, I know. Chen closed her folder. That's why I'm telling you this now. You need to be prepared. If Shaw decides to push things, could move fast. And once the legal system gets involved, it's going to be very hard to stop. She stood up. I'm going to keep digging. But in the meantime, I suggest you get a lawyer, a good one. Someone who isn't afraid of powerful enemies. Marcus nodded. I know someone. Good. Use them. She headed for the door, then paused. Mrs. Martinez, for what it's worth, I believe you. I've been a cop for 20 years. I know when someone is telling the truth, and I know when someone is hiding something. Shaw is hiding a lot. I just need to find out what. Elena felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you, detective. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when this is over. She left. The silence she left behind was heavy. Marcus turned to Elena. We need to talk strategy. What strategy? You heard her. Shaw has money lawyers' connections. We have nothing. We have the truth. The truth doesn't matter when the system is rigged against you. Then we unrig it. Elena stared at him. How? Marcus's eyes were hard, determined. Shaw's dirty. Chen said it herself. If we can find proof of what he's been hiding, we can destroy him. Not with violence, with exposure. Men like Shaw survive because they operate in the shadows. We drag him into the light and he's finished. And how exactly do we find this proof? Marcus was quiet for a moment. I know people who specialize in finding things that are supposed to stay hidden. Hackers, information specialists. They can dig into Shaw's businesses, his finances, his past, find the bodies buried in his closet. Elena felt a chill. Is that legal? Does it matter? She wanted to say yes, wanted to believe that the right way was still possible, but she had seen the right way fail too many times, seen good people destroyed while bad people thrived. No, she finally said. I guess it doesn't. Marcus pulled out his phone. Then let's get to work. 2 hours later, a man arrived at the safe house. He was small, thin, with glasses and nervous energy that seemed to vibrate off him in waves. He looked nothing like the hardened bikers surrounding him. Elena, this is Pixel, Marcus said. Best hacker on the East Coast. Pixel winced. I prefer digital investigator. Whatever, can you do what I asked? Already started. Pixel pulled out a laptop and set it on the kitchen table. Shaw Development is a maze of shell companies and offshore accounts. Took me some time to untangle, but I found some interesting things. He turned the screen so everyone could see. Shaw's construction projects have a pattern. Every major development, there's a suspicious death or serious injury, always ruled accidental, always followed by a large insurance payout, and always the investigation gets buried. Marcus leaned closer. Insurance fraud. Maybe, but I think it's bigger than that. Pixel pulled up another file. Look at this. Every project that had an accident was also behind schedule and over budget. The insurance payouts were just enough to cover the losses and still turn a profit. Elena's stomach turned. You're saying he killed people for money. I'm saying people died on his projects and he benefited every single time. Coincidence, maybe, but I don't believe in that many coincidences. Bull whistled low. That's some dark stuff. Gets darker. Pixel pulled up a photograph. This is a man named James Holloway. He was a safety inspector who worked on Shaw's biggest project, a luxury condo development downtown. 3 years ago, he started asking questions about construction shortcuts, building code violations, dangerous working conditions. What happened to him? He died, car accident, single vehicle, ran off the road late at night. And let me guess, Marcus said, the investigation was closed quickly. Closed and sealed. No autopsy, no toxicology report. His family tried to get answers, but they were stonewalled at every turn. Elena felt sick. He murdered him. Shaw murdered him. I can't prove that yet, but I found something else. Pixel pulled up an email. This is from Shaw's personal server. Encrypted, but I broke through. It's a message to someone called the Cleaner, dated 3 days before Holloway's death. The message was brief. Handle the Holloway problem. Make it clean. The room went silent. That's it, Marcus said quietly. That's the proof we need. It's not enough, Pixel cautions. It's circumstantial. Shaw's lawyers would argue it could mean anything. We need more. A witness, a paper trail, something that directly connects Shaw to Holloway's death. Then find it. I'm trying, but Shaw's covered his tracks well. Whatever evidence exists, it's buried deep. Elena stood up abruptly. Her whole body was trembling. I need air. She walked out of the kitchen before anyone could stop her. Marcus found her on the back porch staring at the snow-covered trees. You okay? No, I'm not okay. None of this is okay. She turned to face him. I walked into a diner with $20. $20, Marcus. I just wanted to feed my children, and now I'm caught up in murder conspiracies, in criminal investigations, and God knows what else. I know. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just... She shook her head. How do normal people end up in situations like this? How does a trip to a diner turn into a fight for survival? Because the world isn't fair. Because powerful people do terrible things and get away with it. Because sometimes standing up for what's right puts you in the crosshairs of people who have no conscience. Elena laughed bitterly. I didn't stand up for anything. I just had existed. I was just there being poor, being desperate, trying to survive another day. And Shaw saw you as an easy target. That's on him, not you. She was quiet for a long moment. Marcus, what if we can't win this? What if Shaw is too powerful, too connected? What if he destroys all of us? Marcus stepped closer. He took her hands in his. Then at least we went down fighting. At least we didn't surrender. At least we stood up and said no more. That's worth something, Elena. Maybe it's worth everything. She looked into his eyes. This scarred, dangerous, unexpectedly gentle man. You really believe that? I believe that my mother spent her whole life being told she wasn't good enough, wasn't worthy enough. She believed them. She accepted her up at her place, and it killed her. Slowly but surely, the weight of that acceptance crushed her. His voice dropped. I won't let that happen to you. I won't let Shaw convince you that you don't deserve to fight. You deserve everything, Elena. Everything. And I'll burn the whole world down before I let anyone take that from you. Tears streamed down her face. Before she knew what she was doing, she leaned forward and kissed him. It wasn't a long kiss, just a moment, a connection, a promise. When she pulled back, Marcus was staring at her with an expression she couldn't read. I'm sorry, she whispered. I shouldn't have. Don't apologize. But, Elena, don't apologize. His hand came up to cup her face. Rough fingers, gentle touch. When this is over, when Shaw is finished and you're safe and your kids have everything they deserve, we'll talk about this, about us, but right now I need to focus on keeping you alive. She nodded, unable to speak. Now let's go back inside. We have a war to win. They walked back into the house together. Pixel was waiting with excitement on his face. I found something. What? Holloway's widow. She's still alive, living in a small town about 2 hours from here. And according to my research, she kept all of her husband's files. Everything he collected about Shaw's projects. Marcus's eyes lit up. She has evidence. Maybe, if Holloway was documenting violations and dangers, those files could contain everything we need to prove Shaw's culpability. Then we need to talk to her. There's a problem. She's been off the grid for 3 years, changed her name, moved twice. She's scared, Marcus. Really scared. If we just show up at her door, she might run. Elena spoke up. Let me talk to her. Everyone turned to look at her. She's a widow who lost her husband to a powerful man. She's been running and hiding just like I have. She's not going to trust a bunch of bikers showing up at her door. But she might trust another woman. Another mother. Someone who knows what it's like to be afraid. Marcus considered this. It's risky. Everything about this is risky. But I'm done hiding. I'm done waiting for other people to solve my problems. If this woman has evidence that can stop Shaw, I want to be the one who gets it. Bull grinned. I like her. Marcus looked at Elena for a long moment. Something shifted in his expression. Respect maybe, or admiration. Okay, we'll do it your way. When do we leave? Tomorrow morning. Tonight we rest. We plan. We make sure we're ready for whatever comes next. Elena nodded. For the first time since this nightmare began, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Power. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She lay in bed beside her children, listening to their soft breathing, watching shadows move across the ceiling. Her mind kept returning to the kiss, to Marcus, to the way he had looked at her with something that might have been love. Love. She had given up on love years ago. Her husband had destroyed that dream when he walked out the door without looking back. Left her with 2 babies and nothing else. No money, no support, no hope. She had learned to survive without love, to function without affection, to put one foot in front of the other day after day, asking for nothing but survival. But Marcus had shown her something different. He had shown her that kindness still existed, that protection was possible, that some people would fight for strangers not because they had to, but because they chose to. And that kiss, that brief electric moment when she had stopped thinking and just acted. She didn't regret it. She couldn't regret it, but she was afraid of what it meant. A soft knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Come in. Marcus stepped inside his massive frame, filling the doorway. Can't sleep. No, you never sleep well before a mission. He walked to the window and stood there looking out at the darkness. We need to talk about tomorrow. Okay. This woman, Sarah Holloway, she might be our only shot at bringing Shaw down, but she's been hiding for 3 years. She's traumatized, paranoid. One wrong word could send her running. I understand. I need you to connect with her, woman to woman, mother to mother. Make her understand that you're not a threat, that you're trying to stop the same man who destroyed her life. And if she won't talk to me, then we try something else. But you're our best chance. She's more likely to open up to you than to any of us. Elena sat up in bed. Marcus, can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you really doing all this? And don't give me the story about your mother again. I know that's part of it. But there's something else, something you're not telling me. Marcus was quiet for a long time. You're perceptive. I've had to be. When you're poor, you learn to read people. It's how you survive. He turned from the window and faced her. Shaw Development built a project in my neighborhood when I was 15. Low-income housing. Everyone was excited. Finally, someone was investing in our community. Finally, things were going to get better. His voice grew heavy. 6 months after they broke ground, there was a fire. Construction site went up in the middle of the night. 3 workers were killed. All of them lived on my block. One of them was my mother's best friend. Elena's heart clenched. Marcus. Investigation was shut down within a week. Insurance paid out. Shaw moved on to his next project, and nobody in my neighborhood ever got justice for those deaths. So this is personal. It's been personal since I was 15 years old. I just never had a chance to do anything about it until now. Elena rose from the bed and walked to him. She took his hands. We're going to stop him. Together. You don't know that? No, but I believe it. And right now, belief is all I have. Marcus looked down at their joined hands. At this woman who had walked into his life with nothing but $20 and desperation. Who had somehow become the center of everything. You're stronger than you know, Elena. So are you. They stood there in the darkness, two broken people holding on to each other, preparing for the battle ahead. And somewhere in the city, Derek Shaw sat in his office staring at a phone. He had just received a message from his source in the police department. Detective Chen was getting close. Too close. It was time to take drastic action. He picked up the phone and dialed, "It's me. I have a job for you. The woman and the bikers. I want them gone. All of them." He paused, listening. "I don't care how you do it. Just make it look like an accident." He hung up. A cold smile spread across his face. By this time tomorrow, his problems would be over. Permanently. They left at dawn. Elena sat in the passenger seat of Marcus's SUV, watching the sun rise over the frozen highway. The twins were back at the safe house with Bull and the others. She had kissed them goodbye, promised she would return soon, and tried not to let them see the fear in her eyes. "You ready for this?" Marcus asked. "No, but I'm going anyway." He reached over and squeezed her hand. A brief touch, a silent promise. Sarah Holloway lives in a town called Millbrook. Population 3,000, one main street. Everyone knows everyone. How do we find her? Pixel tracked her to a small house on the edge of town. She works at a local bakery under a different name. Mary Peters. She really buried her old life. She had to. Shaw killed her husband and got away with it. If he found out she had evidence, she'd be next. Elena shivered despite the warmth of the car. "How do you know she'll talk to me?" "I don't, but you're her best chance of feeling safe enough to open up." "And if she doesn't?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Then we figure out another way." "But Elena, if those files exist, they could be the key to everything. Shaw's crimes. The cover-ups, the deaths, all of it." "No pressure?" "All the pressure. But I believe in you." She looked at him. This man who had appeared in her life like a miracle, who had stood between her and destruction, who had given her something she had lost years ago. Hope. "Thank you, Marcus." "For what?" "For believing in me when I forgot how to believe in myself." He didn't respond with words, just squeezed her hand again and kept driving. 2 hours later, they arrived in Millbrook. It was exactly the kind of town where someone would go to disappear, quiet, forgotten. The kind of place where people minded their own business and didn't ask questions. Marcus parked the SUV on a side street and turned to Elena. "The bakery is 2 blocks from here. I'll wait. If you're not out in an hour, I'm coming in. Give me 90 minutes. If she's as scared as you say, I'll need time to earn her trust." 90 minutes, not a second more. Elena nodded and climbed out of the car. The cold air hit her immediately, sharp and biting. She pulled her coat tighter and started walking. The bakery was called Sweet Home, a small, unremarkable shop with a hand-painted sign and frost on the windows. Elena pushed the door open and stepped inside. The smell of fresh bread and coffee wrapped around her. Behind the counter stood a woman in her 50s. Tired eyes, gray hair pulled back in a bun, hands that trembled slightly as she arranged pastries in a display case. Sarah Holloway, or Mary Peters, as she called herself now. Elena walked to the counter. "Can I help you?" The woman's voice was guarded, wary. "I'd like a coffee, please. And..." Elena glanced at the pastries. "One of those cinnamon rolls." Sarah nodded and turned to pour the coffee. Elena watched her, noting the tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes kept darting to the door. This was a woman who lived in constant fear. "That'll be $4. Elena handed over the money. Then she took a breath. "Mrs. Holloway." The woman froze. Her face went white. "I don't know who you're..." "Please, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because I need your help." Sarah's hands were shaking badly now. She stepped back from the counter. "I don't know anyone named Holloway. You have the wrong person. I know about James. I know about Shaw. I know about the files." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Please, please just leave. If he finds out you're here, he's already trying to destroy me. He's already sent men to hurt my children. I have nothing left to lose." The words hung in the air. Sarah stared at Elena, really looking at her for the first time. She saw the exhaustion, the fear, the desperation. She saw herself. "Who are you?" "My name is Elena Martinez. 4 nights ago, I walked into a diner with $20 and 2 hungry children. Derek Shaw tried to humiliate me. When someone stood up for me, Shaw retaliated. He's been hunting me ever since. Then why come to me? Because you have proof of what he is, what he's done, and without that proof, he's going to destroy me and everyone who tried to help me. Sarah was silent for a long moment. Her eyes moved to the window, then back to Elena. Come with me. She flipped the sign on the door to closed and led Elena to a small room in the back. Sit. Elena sat. Sarah remained standing, her arms crossed, her body tense. How did you find me? People who are very good at finding things. Shaw's people. No, people who wanted to stop him. Sarah laughed bitterly. No one can stop him. I tried. James tried. Look where it got us. Tell me what happened. The older woman was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. James was a good man, honest, principled. He worked as a safety inspector for 23 years and never took a bribe, never looked the other way. When Shaw's development started showing problems, James documented everything. Cut corners, substandard materials, dangerous conditions. He tried to report it. He tried to do the right thing. He went to his superiors. They told him to drop it. He went to the city council. They told him he was mistaken. He went to the newspapers. They wouldn't publish without more evidence. Sarah's voice cracked. So he kept digging, kept documenting. He became obsessed with exposing Shaw. He said someone had to stand up, someone had to tell the truth. And Shaw found out. Shaw found out. And 3 weeks later, my husband's car went off a bridge at 2 a.m. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. They said he fell asleep at the wheel, but James never drove that road. Never had a reason to. He was supposed to be home. He called me that night that said he had found something big, something that would finally bring Shaw down. Then the line went dead. Elena felt her heart breaking. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't bring him back. Sorry doesn't make anyone pay for what they did. But the files could. Sarah looked at her sharply. You really think you can beat him? You, a woman with nothing against Derek Shaw and his money and his connections? I think I have to try, because if I don't, he's going to keep destroying people. He's going to keep killing anyone who gets in his way. And my children are going to grow up in a world where men like him always win. Sarah was quiet. I have a son, Elena continued, and a daughter, twins, 6 years old. They're the only reason I'm still fighting. The only reason I didn't give up a long time ago. I can't let them grow up thinking that evil wins. I can't let them learn that standing up for yourself means getting crushed. She leaned forward. Please, Sarah, help me stop him. For James, for my children, for everyone Shaw has ever hurt. The silence stretched. Then Sarah walked to a cabinet in the corner. She opened it, reached deep inside, and pulled out a metal box. James hid this before he died. He knew they were coming for him. He told me, if anything happens to me, keep this safe. One day someone will come who can use it. She set the box on the table. I've been waiting 3 years for that person. Maybe it's you. Elena opened the box. Inside were folders, photographs, documents, recordings, everything James Holloway had collected, every crime Shaw had committed, every life he had destroyed. This is incredible, Elena breathed. It's enough to put Shaw away for the rest of his life, but it's also enough to get both of us killed. Elena looked up at Sarah. Then we make sure we strike first. 40 minutes later, Elena walked out of the bakery with the box under her arm. Marcus was waiting exactly where she had left him. The moment he saw her, the tension in his shoulders visibly released. You got it. I got it. All of it. Everything. Photographs of construction violations, emails ordering cover-ups, financial records showing insurance fraud, and audio recordings of Shaw discussing how to handle problems, including Holloway. Including Holloway, there's a recording from 2 days before James died. Shaw talking to someone called the cleaner, planning exactly what happened. Marcus's eyes blazed with triumph. We got him. We got him. He pulled her into his arms, held her tight. For one moment, all the fear and tension melted away. I'm proud of you, he murmured into her hair. I couldn't have done this without you. Yes, you could have. You're stronger than you know, Elena. You always have been. She pulled back and looked into his eyes. Let's finish this. They drove back to the safe house faster than the speed limit allowed. The moment they walked through the door, everything erupted into motion. Bull called Detective Chen. Pixel started making copies of every document. Crusher contacted lawyers. The machine was in motion. 3 hours later, Detective Chen arrived with 2 federal agents. Elena handed over the evidence. This is everything we need, Chen said, her voice tight with barely suppressed excitement. Shaw's finished. There's no way he walks away from this. How long until you can arrest him? We need to verify the evidence coordinate with federal prosecutors, get warrants. Probably 48 hours. Marcus frowned. Shaw has contacts everywhere. If he gets wind of this, he won't. This goes straight to the top. No local cops, no politicians, no one who might be on his payroll. Elena felt a weight lifting from her chest. After everything, after all the fear and running and fighting, it was finally happening. Shaw was going to pay. What about us? She asked. Are the kidnapping charges going away? Chen smiled. The moment this evidence goes public, every lie Shaw told will unravel. You'll be completely cleared. All of you. Bull let out a whoop. Demon high-fived Razor. Even Crusher cracked a rare smile. But Marcus wasn't celebrating. His eyes were on the window scanning the perimeter. Something's wrong. Everyone fell silent. What is it? Bull asked. I don't know, just a feeling. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, his face went pale. We need to move. Now. What? That was Pixel. He intercepted a communication 20 minutes ago. Shaw knows about Sarah Holloway. He knows we have the evidence. And he sent a team. How many? 12 men, professional killers. They're already en route. Chen grabbed her phone. I'm calling for backup. There's no time. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Elena's blood ran cold. The children. She ran upstairs. The twins were playing in their room, oblivious to the danger. Babies, we need to go right now. But Mommy, we're playing. Now Lucas. Something in her voice made them stop. They grabbed their coats and followed her downstairs. Marcus was issuing orders rapid fire. Bull, take Elena and the kids. Use the back road. Get to the secondary safe house. What about you? I'm staying. Chen needs time to get that evidence to safety. We'll hold them off. Elena grabbed his arm. No, I'm not leaving you. You have to. Your children need you. They need both of us. Marcus cupped her face in his hands. Elena, listen to me. I've been waiting my whole life for a chance to make things right, to balance the scales. This is my moment. This is what I was born for. Marcus, take your children and go. Keep them safe. And when this is over, when Shaw is in prison and you're free, we'll find each other again. I promise. Tears streamed down her face. I can't lose you. Not now, not when I just found you. He kissed her, deep, desperate, a kiss that carried everything words couldn't say. You won't lose me. Now go. Bull grabbed Elena's arm. We need to move. She looked at Marcus one last time, memorizing his face, praying it wouldn't be the last time she saw him. I love you. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Marcus's eyes softened. I love you too. Now run. Bull pulled her toward the back door. The twins were crying, scared and confused. Mommy, what's happening? Everything's going to be okay, babies. Just hold on to Mommy. They burst out the back door into the cold morning air. Behind them, Elena heard the first sounds of engines approaching. Shaw's men had arrived. The next 15 minutes were chaos. Marcus and his brothers took positions throughout the house. 7 Hell's Angels against 12 professional killers. Bad odds, but they had faced worse. The first wave came through the front door. Marcus dropped 2 of them before they cleared the threshold. Bull took out a third with a shotgun blast. The attackers fell back, regrouping. They're flanking, Demon shouted. Glass shattered as men came through the side windows. Razor met them with a knife in each hand, moving with deadly precision. Marcus fought like a man possessed. Every punch, every shot, every move was fueled by one thought. Keep them busy long enough for Elena to escape. Somewhere in the distance, he heard sirens. Chen's backup was coming. They just needed to hold on. An attacker got through his guard and landed a punch to his ribs. Marcus felt something crack. He ignored the pain and broke the man's arm, then his neck. 3 down, 9 to go. But the Hells Angels were taking hits too. Demon was bleeding from a gash on his head. Crusher had taken a bullet to the shoulder. They were running out of time. Then the front door exploded inward. A massive man stepped through, bigger than Marcus, meaner. He carried a combat knife that looked more like a sword. "You must be Iron," the man said. "Shaw sends his regards. Tell him to deliver them in person." The man smiled and lunged. They fought through the living room, trading blows that would have killed lesser men. Marcus was faster, but the other man was stronger. Every time Marcus landed a hit, he took two in return. His vision was blurring. His ribs screamed with every breath. He was losing. The big man knocked him to the ground and raised his knife for the killing blow. "It's the last word?" Marcus spat blood. "Yeah, duck." The man frowned. "What?" A shotgun blast caught him in the chest, sending him flying backward. Bull stood in the doorway, weapon smoking. "You're welcome." Marcus struggled to his feet. "Status." "Most of them are down. Chen's backup just arrived. It's over, brother." Over. The word echoed in Marcus's mind. Over. He stumbled to the window and looked out. Police cars were flooding the property. Federal agents in tactical gear were securing the perimeter. The surviving attackers were being taken into custody. And then through the chaos, he saw something that made his heart stop. A black SUV pulling up to the scene. Derek Shaw stepped out. He was holding a gun, and he was walking toward the house. "Shaw's here," Marcus shouted. Bull raised his weapon, but Shaw was faster. He fired twice, and Bull went down with a grunt, clutching his leg. Marcus charged out the front door. Shaw saw him coming and raised the gun. "Stop right there, or I'll kill you where you stand." Marcus stopped. His whole body was screaming with pain. He could barely stand, but he refused to show weakness. "It's over, Shaw. The evidence is already with the feds. Your crimes are going public. You are finished." "Maybe, but before I go down, I'm taking you with me." "Why, what did I ever do to you?" Shaw's face twisted with rage. "You humiliated me. In front of everyone, you made me look weak. No one does that to me. No one. This is all about your ego. People are dead because of your ego. People are dead because they got in my way. Just like you got in my way. Just like that pathetic woman and her sniveling brats got in my way." Marcus felt the rage building inside him. "Don't you dare talk about her." "Oh, did I touch a nerve?" The big bad biker fell in love with the welfare queen. How touching. "Too bad neither of you will live to enjoy it." Shaw raised the gun, and then a voice rang out. "Derek Shaw, drop your weapon." Detective Chen stood behind him, her service weapon aimed at his head. Federal agents flanked her on both sides. Shaw froze. "Drop it now or we will fire." For one terrible moment, it looked like Shaw might shoot anyway. Might take Marcus down with him in one final act of spite. Then his shoulders slumped. The gun clattered to the ground. "Derek Shaw, you're under arrest for murder, attempted murder, insurance, fraud, conspiracy, and about a dozen other charges. You have the right to remain silent." As Chen read him his rights, Shaw stared at Marcus with pure hatred. "This isn't over." Marcus walked forward until they were face to face. "Yeah, it is. And you know what the best part is? You didn't lose to someone powerful. You didn't lose to someone rich. You lost to a single mother with $20 and the courage to stand up to you." Shaw's face went purple with rage, but the agents were already dragging him away. Marcus watched him go, and then his legs gave out. He collapsed onto the cold ground, his body finally surrendering to the pain. The last thing he heard before unconsciousness took him was the distant sound of sirens. And somewhere, somehow, he swore he could hear Elena calling his name. 3 weeks later, Elena stood outside a small house on a quiet street holding her children's hands. It was their house now, a real house, with a yard and bedrooms and a kitchen that actually had food in the refrigerator. "Mommy, is this really ours?" Lily asked for the 100th time. "Really ours, baby. Forever. Forever." The Hells Angels had made it happen. Club money, they said, invested in legitimate businesses over the years. They wanted to help her get back on her feet. Elena had tried to refuse. It was too much. She didn't deserve it. Marcus had shut her down immediately. "You deserve everything. And we're a family now. Family takes care of family." Family. She never thought she would have that word again. The front door opened and Marcus stepped out. He was still healing, broken ribs, fractured wrist, dozens of cuts and bruises. But he was alive. He was here, and he was smiling. You going to stand out there all day, or are you coming inside? The twins broke free and ran to him, throwing their arms around his legs. Uncle Marcus. Hey, Munchkins, careful with the ribs. Elena walked forward, slowly savoring the moment. This man, this house, this impossible, miraculous second chance. Thank you, she whispered. Stop thanking me. Never. She kissed him softly, then pulled back and looked into his eyes. So what happens now? Now we live. We raise these kids. We build something good. We prove that Shaw didn't win, that he never could have won. And the club's got my back, always will. But my home is here now, with you. Lena felt tears streaming down her face. Happy tears. The only kind she wanted to cry ever again. I walked into that diner with $20. I know. $20 and nothing else. And now you have everything. She laughed through her tears. How is this possible? How does something like this happen? Marcus pulled her close. It happens because sometimes the universe puts people in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. It happens because good people refuse to look away. It happens because love is stronger than hate and courage is stronger than fear. He kissed her forehead. It happens because you deserved a miracle, and I got to be the one who delivered it. That evening, they sat around the dinner table as a family, Elena, Marcus, Lily, and Lucas, plus Bull Demon, Razor, and Crusher. The dining room was packed, loud, and chaotic. It was perfect. Uncle Bull, can you pass the potatoes? Sure thing, little man. Uncle Demon, tell us about your motorcycle again. Maybe after dinner, kid. Elena watched it all with wonder. These hardened men, these feared bikers laughing and joking with their children like beloved uncles at a family reunion. Marcus caught her eye across the table. He winked. She smiled back, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. After dinner, when the dishes were done and the children were playing in the living room, Marcus pulled Elena onto the back porch. The stars were out. The air was cold but not bitter. I have something for you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Elena's breath caught. Marcus, before you say anything, just listen. He opened the box to reveal a simple gold ring. This was my mother's, the only thing I have left of her. I've carried it with me for 30 years waiting for the right person. Marcus, you're the right person, Elena. I knew it the moment I saw you in that diner. The way you looked at your children. The way you refused to break even when everything was falling apart. You're the strongest person I've ever met. He got down on one knee. I'm not asking you to marry me today. I'm not asking for anything except a chance. A chance to be part of your life. A chance to help raise those kids. A chance to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Tears streamed down Elena's face. Yes. Yes, yes to all of it. Yes to the chance. Yes to the life. Yes to you. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. They kissed under the stars, two broken people who had found each other in the darkness and built something beautiful in the light. 6 months later, Elena stood in front of a classroom, her children sitting in the front row. And that's why I started this foundation, to help single mothers who are struggling, to make sure no one has to choose between feeding their children and keeping the lights on, to prove that asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage. The audience applauded. The Elena Martinez Foundation had launched 3 months ago. Funded by donations from the Hells Angels community and supporters across the country, it had already helped over 200 families. Derek Shaw was in prison, serving 35 years with no possibility of parole. His empire had crumbled. His reputation was destroyed. His victims finally had justice. Sarah Holloway had come out of hiding. She ran the foundation's East Coast operations, helping other widows and families who had lost loved ones to powerful men. And Marcus Amarcus sat in the back of the room, arms crossed, watching Elena with pride in his eyes. After the speech, she found him waiting by the door. You were amazing. I was terrified. That's what made it amazing. They walked to the car together, hand in hand. The twins ran ahead laughing and chasing each other through the parking lot. Mom, Dad, can we get ice cream? Elena looked at Marcus. He was grinning. Dad. The twins had started calling him that 2 months ago. He had cried the first time. Actually cried. This giant, scarred, feared biker had broken down and wept because 2 6-year-olds called him Dad. What do you think, Dad? Elena teased. Ice cream. Marcus scooped up Lucas and threw him over his shoulder. I think ice cream is an excellent idea. They drove to a small ice cream shop across town. The same town where everything had started. The same diner was just a few blocks away. Elena looked at it through the window. What are you thinking? Marcus asked. I'm thinking about Christmas Eve, about walking through that door with nothing but $20 and a prayer. And now, she looked at her children happily devouring their ice cream, at the ring on her finger, at the man beside her who had changed everything. And now I have more than I ever dreamed possible. That night, after the children were asleep, Elena sat by the window of her home. Her home. She still couldn't believe it sometimes. Still woke up expecting to find herself back in that cold, empty room, counting pennies and praying for miracles. Marcus sat down beside her. Can't sleep. Just thinking. About how quickly life can change. About how one moment, one decision, one act of kindness can alter everything. Marcus took her hand. My mother used to say that God works through people, that angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have leather jackets and motorcycles. Elena laughed softly. Is that what you are, my angel? I'm just a man who was in the right place at the right time. Knowing, she turned to face him. You're so much more than that. You saved my life. You saved my children. You gave me a reason to believe again. You gave me the same thing. Before you, I was just going through the motions, fighting battles that didn't matter, looking for something I couldn't name. And now I have everything I need right here in this house. They sat together in the darkness, 2 people who had found each other against all odds. Outside, snow began to fall, soft and gentle, covering the world in white. 1 year ago on a night just like this, Elena had walked into a diner with $20 and 2 hungry children. She had found something worth more than all the money in the world. She had found family, she had found love, she had found home, and that was worth everything. Sometimes the darkest nights lead to the brightest mornings. Sometimes the people we least expect become the ones who save us. Sometimes a single act of kindness can change not just one life, but generations to come. Elena Martinez had learned this truth in the most unexpected way possible, and she would spend the rest of her life passing it on. Because that's what family does. That's what love does. That's what miracles do. They multiply. They spread. They never ever end. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to believe that kindness still exists, that hope is never lost, that angels walk among us every single day. And remember, no matter how dark your night may seem, dawn is always coming. You just have to hold on long enough to see it.